Hello, everyone. My name is Tempest Carter from the ACHIEVEability RCO. I want to introduce Kelly Buchanan and also Kate Summers, who are also members of the RCO. Kelly, could you introduce yourself?
Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. I'm Kelly Buchanan, the president of the Neighborhood Advisory Committee and also the co-chair for the RCO. And glad to be here with you guys and hear about your proposal.
Mhm.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Kate, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Kate Summers and I'm the Neighborhood Advisory Committee Coordinator at ACHIEVEability. I'll be the one hosting these kinds of meetings in the future. I'm new to the organization, so really here to learn from Tempest and all of you.
All right, great. And like I said, my name is Tempest Carter. I'm the Director of Community and Economic Development here at ACHIEVEability. Our RCO is set up to be able to connect residents to developments and proposed developments in their area. So it gives them a chance to not only hear what is happening, but have a say and a voice into what is coming into their community and how. So this is a very, very important meeting, and we don't take it lightly that we facilitate these convenings. So we would really love to hear about 105 North Felton Street. And at the end of the presentation that happens tonight, we will put forth a vote. Now, this vote should only have one person. I'll allow for it to be a verbal vote just because we only have one person from Felton Street at this point in time. We will add that to our votes, our general votes for Felton Street, and that will inform whether we support the project or not. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Jen, can you please introduce the project?
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
and the property owner.
Sure. With us here is Edward Prone. He's the owner of the property. My name is Zen Jin. I'm the attorney on this project, and we have Ms. Linda Trong here from my office as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen of the information relating to this case. So this is an application to essentially legalize what is existing at this property, which is 2 residential units. This property is zoned RSA 3, in which normally only single family uses are permitted. However, this property, when my client purchased it, was vacant. It had prior violations which were lifted as part of the process of getting the property complete for sale. When he purchased it, it was already set up as 2 separate units. The upper floor residential unit actually accesses its entrance through a stairway, and the lower floor unit has its own entrance, which only accesses its unit and the basement. The reason I think this is set up this way is at some time in the past, this property might have had a store or some kind of use of that nature on the first floor, which was separate, and a resident above. Before it was sold, it was actually vacant for some time. When it was acquired by my client, though, the property is already set up essentially as 2 residential units. So he went ahead and leased the property based on that understanding because that's what he thought he bought. But in further investigation, after he acquired the property, he realized that the zoning says that it's only good for 1 residential unit. So he immediately made efforts to start the process of legalizing this property and making the application to L&I for 2 units. My office got involved once he got the refusal, and we reached out to the community at that point. As far as we know, this is, if you look at the pictures, this is not a newly renovated or constructed property. It's been around a while, and this staircase also has been in the, you can tell from looking at the wood that it's not something that was put up recently. The stone staircase and the wood framing, even the metal framing, is from a while ago. So this entire property was set up the way it is for a long time, well before my client actually purchased it. So we're just looking to make sure that the zoning is consistent with what is actually going on in the property. This is what under the zoning law would be called a pre-existing non-conforming condition, in that it's not conforming with the current code, but it's a pre-existing condition that was non-conforming, not something my client put in place, which generates a non-conforming condition. So we would ask for consideration in that situation because, again, he purchased a property that is essentially set up as 2 units already. So that's really the gist of this application, is to legalize what is already there and see if that use can be acceptable to the community. As you can see, again, it's been used this way probably sometime in the past, but it was certainly acquired this way by my client when he purchased the property. So we have the floor plans here. I'm going to go ahead and stop on the plans because it's easier to visualize the interior utilizing the plans, and then we can discuss any specifics that you have questions regarding.
Can we zoom in a little bit onto
Absolutely.
the second and the first floor?
Sure. Let me try to.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can zoom out 1 notch. It might be easier to see. Here we go. So as you can see, there are no interior stairway in this property at all. So the second floor actually does not have an interior stairway that leads to it. So it only has a stairway here that goes into the utility basement from the first floor. And the other stairway is the one that exists outside. And
Which currently isn't up to code, right? That was a violation.
No, there's no ongoing violation on this property. It was actually everything that was a violation on the property has already been corrected prior to my client purchasing it, because at the time of purchase, he asked to make sure the property had no open violations before he accepted the property. Because it was vacant, use wasn't one of the open violations. They had a vacant property license on it.
So what is I'm sorry, the purchaser, the owner, Mr.
Yes,
What's your name?
Edward, he's here with us.
Yes, Edward. What is Edward's intention to do with the property? Is it?
It's currently a rental property, and I believe one of the tenants actually here with us on the iPhone and can give us some feedback.
Okay.
But it is a rental property with 2 units, single bedroom units. I'm sorry, upstairs is 2 bedrooms.
Okay, so Edward, you intend to keep it as a home for 2 families, one on the second floor, one on the first floor. Right now, you're just trying to justify or qualify for the zoning code that you just recently found out about, that things have changed since the property was set up. Okay.
Yes, I mean, he's here with us.
Yes,
do you want
he's
him
right
to
there.
answer directly?
Yes, he did shake his head. Yes, I can see him.
Great.
Yes.
He's not
here.
on my screen for some reason, so I can't see what.
Okay. Yes,
his
we can
response
see
is.
him.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's better.
And
I
you
can
can
see him.
unmute yourself as well, Mr. Ed.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to talk and I just realized I was muted.
No
Yes,
worries.
we intend to keep it as a 2-family house, and it is set up as a 2-family house. We just want to make the papers, we just want to make the documents correct. We just want to, make it fine with the city, want to legalize it. That's all our intention.
if you were successful in changing the zoning to make sure that it was a duplex or multifamily legally, would you change the pricing of the units? And
No,
if so, how?
no, no. I always like to price the units a little bit below the market, so people can afford them. They are happy to stay, and they have, they don't want to move out because they have a good deal. So no, it will not affect the price anyway.
Okay. iPhone, would you like to share your experiences either being a neighbor or living in this unit?
I don't have any problems with the facility, like the apartment. I never had a problem living here.
Okay. Miss Alexis, are you a neighbor or a community member?
And so
Hello?
help. Oh,
I'm sorry,
Okay.
it's cutting in and out.
oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So I'm actually with the city, and I am a community support strategist. I am new to the city, and so I'm just trying to join as many community meetings as possible.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
hi.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, how are you doing?
Good, good, good. And Angelica works with us. She's on the RCO. She's on the NAS as well, as working with our political stakeholders. Welcome, Angelica. Do you have any additional questions?
What was the original zoning what was it zoned for? Since they want to ask you to change the
So-
zoning,
so
what
the-
is it that they originally allowed?
Well, you're under the current, and you have to understand the city has kind of remapped much of the zoning in the city. Let me see if I can give you some history on this property. The zoning history isn't as clear as some properties where there's a extensive record. This
Right.
one has some records. It doesn't tell me what it might have been zoned, because the zoning, what they call the former zoning archive, actually has no documentation. But the history of the property looks like that it was at one point having some issues with falling apart for safety, and the city actually had it changed. But the prior owner, sometime in 2010, had a fair housing dispute with the city, and that has a record where the case was kind of, there was some identity theft issue, and it was dismissed for fair housing. So that was the last thing I saw in the record as far as history with the property. But it's been vacant some time.
And it's currently zoned as
Residential, single family, semi-detached, yes.
semi-detached.
Okay.
We have a new person that's come on their iPhone. Can you introduce yourself, and are you a neighbor or community member? You can unmute yourself, iPhone number 2. You're in the car.
Oh, unmute.
Unmute.
No.
I'm trying to.
Oh, yeah, I think she's trying.
Okay. Oh, it unmuted for a second. Try
Mhm.
again. You pressed something and it worked.
There it is.
Here we go. Hello. Are you a community member or neighbor?
I am a neighboring RCO.
Oh, hi, Eloise.
Square.
It's good to see you.
Thank you. You too.
So we have, and we also have Sherelle Dandy. Are you a community member or neighbor? Miss Connie Dandy? Sorry, they've gone through the spiel, but we can go through it again for the new folks that just came in, just so you can
Sure.
get a general understanding of what's being asked. Now that we have a few more community members, if in fact we do, so that's the second iPhone and Ms. Connie Dandy, we could go for a vote, but it seems like we may have to canvass because we only have about one person from the block currently.
So I'll be happy to reshare. It looks like an
Thank you.
iPhone waited. It's in the waiting
Yeah.
room again. So again, what we're here for, just to be brief but clear, is that we're looking for the legalization of this property to be used as a two-family dwelling. This is a property that is currently zoned in a RSA 3, which is residential single attached 3 type district. It's a semi-detached building, but it is zoned RSA 3 for single family. However, this property actually exists in the condition that you see on this plan, in that the first unit, the first floor and the second floor does not have an interior staircase. And this is not a newly constructed building. This has been this way for quite a long time. The only way up to the second floor actually is a separate staircase that goes up. The property was purchased by my client when it was vacant. Since 2010, there's been a series of back and forth with the city, with the prior owner, to get the property violations lifted and complied. And at the time my client purchased it, it was complied in every form, but because it was vacant, it was running under a vacant property license. The use itself, even if it had legal prior use of 2 units, becomes abandoned, and it falls under whatever the zoning code says it is, which is single family. However, you can see from this picture here that this property is not newly constructed, and most importantly, the entryway to the upper floor, which is this exterior staircase, this obviously existed with the property for the longest time. This is not something that is brand new versus this one, which is, you can see from the stone that it's basically about the same age. And it certainly has had some repairs and other things done to it. But this is all part of those violations that was getting lifted throughout the years. At this point, the property does not carry any violations, but it is not zoned for 2 family, which is what's in there, versus what is allowed, which is 1 family. And that is where we're asking for a legalization of the existing condition of 2 family. So if we were to talk about hardship to the property due to unique circumstances, I think that the most unique circumstance here is that we don't have a staircase on the inside connecting the first to second floor. So it's unlikely this property was a single family house even in the past, based on the design that it's in existence from quite a bit of time ago. And that's why we're asking the community's consideration to allow it to remain the way it is, but to remain to be used legally as 2 residential units. These are not heavily dense residential units. You have a 1 bedroom on the first floor and a 2 bedroom above. And that's gonna remain that way. There are tenants in there. My client is not planning to make any major changes to the property, and the rent or anything that is existing would not change in the future based on an approval of the legalization.
Right. And we have one person on the line that was that is a current resident. She said that she hasn't had any issues. And we were told that the pricing of the units is below market rate and will continue to stay that way. For the new iPhone or any new people that have come in, can you please introduce yourselves, and please let me know if you are a community member or a neighbor from Felton Street? That goes for Alicia Mullings, second iPhone, and Connie, please.
Okay, I'm here.
Hi, are you a community member or neighbor?
A community member.
Okay, great. And are you iPhone or which one are you? I'm sorry.
I'm
Oh,
actually I have an iPhone.
okay.
But
Perfect.
that's Alicia Mullings. I just got something from the chat from our second iPhone, the individual who wasn't able to speak to us.
Okay.
She is a neighbor.
Okay, great, 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 great. So at this time, I will allow for any follow-up questions, and I will allow for a verbal vote. If you are connected to this program, to this project in any way, be it an RCO or part of the legal team, please do not vote. That means the 2 iPhones can vote, Ms. Connie and Alicia Mullings can vote as well. And Ms. Eloise, I would like to hear your input at least. So this is a time for any final questions, and then we'll take it to a vote. Usually I would do a poll, but it's so heavy with people that are connected to the project that I'd rather just do it verbally at this point in time.
I do have a question. You said that it's already occupied, I guess, with 2 families. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So are there plans to do repairs? Because it looks like the property, I heard you say that the current tenant who's there isn't having any issues, but it does look like it needs some work. Are there plans to make repairs to the property?
Yes. We always trying to keep the property in a good shape. At this point, after the winter storms, the rear side of the building will need some repairs. But there are no issues in an apartment or something. And yes, it will be some repairs will be done as soon as the weather is gonna get warmer, and it's getting warmer any day now.
Are you satisfied with the condition of that staircase on the outside that leads to the 2nd floor
It is
apartment?
absolutely solid, and it's a concrete structure, and that wooden, it had a metal railing which was like very low, maybe 1 feet or something, and it was not in good shape. We cut it off, and this wooden structure is very solid.
Are there
In the
any,
future, we would just like to make it more good looking, basically, more appealing.
that's what I was gonna say. It
Yes,
doesn't look
yes.
good at all.
No.
Yeah, looks pretty rickety.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Eloise. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns?
I'm sorry, I do have one more. I noticed there was a lot of trash in the picture on the ground. How do you deal with trash and keeping the exterior clean?
Normally, the tenants are responsible for the trash, but during the pictures were taken during the winter, and it was not always a trash pickup as the tenants reported. So maybe that causes it. But also, when I'm sending a contractor there to do some work, I'm always asking them just to check if their property is clean and pick up if there's some trash.
Okay. If there are no additional questions or comments or concerns, I'm going to ask for everyone who is not intimately attached to this program. That means Kate, Kelly, myself, Mr. Jen, and others. If you could please give your vote on whether you approve this being a 2-family dwelling, or if you do not approve of this being a legalized 2-family dwelling. I will, Kelly, could you please record the answers?
Yes.
Okay, iPhone approves. And
Yes.
Jessica approves. Okay. You can unmute yourself as well, and we can take that as well.
Okay.
This is Angelica. I approve.
Okay. iPhone 1.
Yes, this is Diana. I approve.
Okay.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Eloise.
I approve.
Is Miss Connie still on the line? No,
I don't see her as a participant any longer.
okay. Okay, so right now we have conditional a conditional approving of this project with some comments regarding a uptick in cleaning, because it does seem to be some short dumping and trash issues alongside with issues with the stairway, well, that connects to the second floor. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
But generally, it seems like the community that has come forth approves this project. We will
Thank you.
follow up with a light canvas of Felton Street before we write a support letter. Okay.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
this will be recorded and we'll put it out to the community and also allow for feedback.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. At this time, this case is closed. If you are still hungry for community development and RCO meetings, there is a meeting occurring right now with the West Philly Economic RCO. They're having a major issue right now with a building that may be turned into a single room occupancy space. So this is an issue. So I will
What's the
post that
location
into
of
the
that
chat.
property?
Let me pull it up now. So it was Kyle. 435 South 56th Street.
Okay.
And the meeting ID for anyone that wants to join, because I'm about to head
Yes.
over to there now,
Yes.
is 723025 2357
20 is 23, 23.
2357.
Okay, can I,
Passcode is GDM 58X lowercase, and I wrote that down in the chat. So anyone can join. And they're looking for people. It's from the West Philadelphia Economic Development Council.
okay.
Okay, so anybody can join, and I definitely urge, if Eloise, if you feel up to it, Angelica, if you feel up to it, Kate, I would love for you to come if you can. Kelly, I'm going to head over there now, and I'm going to stop the recording, and it should be put up on our Facebook page by Friday.
Thank you.